Hey everyone, so let's talk about will and would. Now, I know what you're thinking, you've got these down, right? But I promise you, these two little words have some seriously powerful uses that your textbook probably never even mentioned. We're gonna go way beyond the basic grammar rules today.
Your textbook likely taught you will is all about the future. I will call you tomorrow. Easy enough. But then you hear something like this. He will argue for hours about 1 pixel. Wait a second. That's not about the future, is it? Nope. That's about his personality. And that's exactly the kind of cool stuff we're going to unpack.
So think of this less like a dry grammar lesson and more like we're unlocking some hidden levels of communication. We're going to see how will and would can show personality, add politeness, express frustration, and even tell a really good story. Okay, first up is will. We're going to focus on how it works right here, in the present moment, doing so much more than just pointing to something happening tomorrow. Get ready? Because there are a few surprises here.
Let's start with one of my favorite secret uses of will, describing someone's character. It's this brilliant, subtle way of saying, yep, that's just so typically them. It's all about their characteristic behavior. Let me show you exactly what I mean.
So here we have a super simple, neutral fact. She drinks green tea every morning. Fine. It tells us about her routine. It's just a fact. Now, watch what happens when we pop in one little word.
See that? She'll drink 5 cups. All of a sudden, it's not just a habit, is it? It's a colorful, vivid detail about her personality. It gives you that feeling of, oh yeah, I know her, that's so her. That's the real power of using will to talk about character.
And what about when you're just frustrated? Well, in English, won't is our absolute go-to word when something, or even someone, just refuses to cooperate. When you say, my car won't start, you're not making a prediction. You're frustrated right now because it feels like your car is actively refusing to do its one job.
Will also has this other cool job, talking about the present with a high degree of certainty. And this has nothing to do with plans. It's all about making assumptions and those spur-of-the-moment reactions.
Just picture this. You're expecting a package. The doorbell rings. You immediately say, that will be the courier. You're not predicting the future. The doorbell is ringing now. You're just expressing a really confident assumption about what's happening in this very moment. It's a statement of present certainty. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about would. If will has some hidden depths, would is like a Swiss Army knife. It is such a versatile tool for handling different social situations, telling stories, and exploring all those what-if scenarios. One of its most common jobs, for sure, is making things sound more polite. Will you close the door can sometimes sound a bit like an order, a bit direct. But if you just switch it to, would you close the door, it instantly softens the whole thing. It's way less demanding. Such a small change, but it has a huge impact.
Would is also absolutely fantastic for storytelling. When you're looking back, reminiscing about the past, would is perfect for painting a picture of repeated actions and routines. It creates this warm, kind of nostalgic feeling, like you're really seeing how things used to be.
Here's a big one. We use would all the time to talk about hypothetical situations, even when there's no if in the sentence. When you say something like this, you're really expressing a strong opinion about an imagined future. You're saying, look, if I ever had to make that choice, this is what I'd do.
And in a professional setting, this is a game changer. Using would helps you sound way less confrontational. Instead of saying a direct, I suggest this, saying I would suggest makes your idea feel more like a gentle proposal. It just comes across as softer and more collaborative.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking. Some of these differences are kind of subtle and can be tricky. So let's just jump in and tackle a few of the most common mix-ups head-on. We're going to make this crystal clear. So here's a big one, would versus used to. As you can see, they can both be used for past actions. You can say, I used to walk to school, or I would walk to school. Both are fine. But, and this is the key difference, only used to works for past states. You can say, I used to live in Berlin, but you absolutely cannot say, I would live in Berlin. Would needs that repeated action. And what about will versus going to? Let's do a super quick refresher. Will is your go-to for decisions you make right on the spot, like I'll get it when the phone rings, and for predictions based on your opinion. Going to is for plans you made before, and for predictions you're making based on evidence you can see right now. And let's just circle back one more time to that idea of refusal, because it's so useful. Saying the file doesn't open is just a calm, neutral fact. But when you say the file won't open, you can feel the emotion, right? It implies you've tried and this file is just stubbornly refusing to do what you want. That extra punch of frustration is the key.
So, as we start to wrap this up, I really want you to shift your thinking. Stop seeing these as just boring grammar rules. Instead, think of them as these amazing, powerful tools you have that can add all these layers of meaning to everything you say. And really, this is the main takeaway from our whole explainer today. Getting good at will and would isn't about passing some grammar test. It's about learning how to really express your personality, how to convey subtle emotions, and how to communicate with the kind of nuance that makes people really listen. So, here you go. These are your new superpowers. You can now use will to paint a really clear picture of someone's character. You can use won't to show that you're frustrated. You can use would to make your requests way more polite. And you can use would to tell really captivating stories about the past. Pretty cool, right? And that, of course, brings us to the final question. You now have the tools. You can communicate with so much more depth and precision. So start listening for these forms when you're watching movies or just talking to people. So the question is, how will you use them?